About 10 days ago, I made a video on oxalates and how they may be impacting my health and what I was going to do about it. In the past, I've been under the guidance of a nutritionist, and then I followed up with a holistic healer. I have different ailments, and I also have a lot of food sensitivities, but nothing was working. I've been seeing a nutritionist since July. I just started talking to a holistic healer. While working with a holistic healer, though, I noticed that my inflammation, my arthritis, and my fatigue were worsening, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me what was happening. I have tried every diet on the planet. I've tried carnivore, keto, paleo. I'm also gluten-free. I don't eat white sugar. I do eat natural sugar and many other things. It wasn't until I saw a couple of YouTube videos. One was a woman who had a reaction to cashews, and her kidneys failed because of eating an overdose of cashews one night in her living room. The other YouTube video was by a very popular YouTuber, but what she said impressed upon me so much that I knew I had to try this diet out for myself. She basically said she was living on a carnivore lifestyle, and she was still feeling the effects of different ailments, and she couldn't figure it out until she changed several things, two of which were stopping eating black pepper, and she stopped drinking black tea. And I took note of this because those are two food products that I really enjoy. I seasoned everything I ate, and I drank black tea all day long. That was one of my staple drinks during my day. I also enjoyed green tea immensely because I was already at a point of desperation to try to fix my health. Not everyone has food sensitivities that are this severe. I just happen to be very sensitive to a lot of things. So my journey reached a point where I thought I was doing what was right for me. I thought I was eating the healthiest I could. Even my nutritionist said I eat very healthy. And then when I, talked to the holistic healer, she further explored with me things, and I thought her recommendations were spot on. But at the end of the day, everything was making me sicker. I researched the topic very, very carefully and thoroughly as possible. And what I found is there are these things called oxalates in many, 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 many food products. In my prior video, I actually made a list of all the food products that are virtually oxalate free. And I said that's the diet I was going to explore. I was going to go oxalate free. Now, I'm going to tell you that that wasn't quite possible. Almost everything on the planet has a trace of oxalates except for a few food groups. An oxalate, by definition, is an anti-nutrient. I wish I learned this years ago. It probably would have saved me a lot of money and healthcare costs. The initial benefit I saw right away from this oxalate free, or realistically low oxalate diet, is immediately I was able to sleep. Back in July, when I saw a nutritionist, she made tweaks to my diet because I already ate very healthy, so she said, so I thought. But these tweaks actually caused me not only to gain weight, but I had terrible insomnia after I saw her the first time. I saw her twice, actually, and my health just went out of control downhill. Then I reached out to a holistic healer because I was desperate at that point. And when I did that, the holistic healer, with all good intention, told me to drink vegetable juice every morning throughout the day and to fast for 7 days. She also told me to eat things like kale and spinach and bunches of leafy greens. And I was getting worse, having the worst arthritis pain I've ever felt in my life. I couldn't function. I went from having insomnia to now I'm wide awake and I'm so tired I can't stay awake, and I'm falling asleep on the couch. There was nothing I could do to motivate myself off the couch. It was horrible. And at that point, when I saw the YouTube videos, I knew I had to do something else drastic. I no longer had this excruciating pain. I used to have this really bad pain in my little knuckle joints, and it felt like crushed glass. So if I tried to straighten out my joints, this unbearable, unbelievable pain. I even got these little fingertip protectors, and that didn't work either. I also felt like I had overall inflammation, and I had fatigue. I had terrible, terrible fatigue. And that could be partly due to the insomnia. But with this 10 days of using the oxalate-free diet tips, I can honestly report that my insomnia is cured. My arthritis, the pain in the little joints here, is completely gone. In 10 days, I have no more pain. My thumb pain is still there, but it's very minimal. I also don't feel as inflamed, and my daughter noticed yesterday that I don't look as puffy in the face. My face is actually looking better. The other things that happened were my hair. My hair grew longer during this 10 days, believe it or not. It's crazy to me because you can tell, when you go to curl your hair or whatever, you can tell that it's grown out a little bit, and mine certainly has. My nails are not as brittle. They're not splintering. They're not chipping like they used to, and they're actually growing, and they're noticeably stronger. There is one downside of this diet, and I knew this going into it. Well, maybe more than one downside, depending on how you look at this. It is extreme, okay? Just like with any other diet, you may not be used to having only certain foods. So if you're cutting out your favorite foods, that could be a downside. It wasn't necessarily a downside for me. I was prepared to go in this with the mindset that these are the foods you can have and that's it. Especially after coming off a 7-day fast where food was at a minimal. But the one major downside is dizziness. When your body can't process oxalates, it turns them into crystals. In my case, I believe that those crystals were getting into my joints, because that's what the crystals do. They find their way into your bloodstream. They attack your eyes. They attack your lungs. They attack your heart. They can attack your organs, and they attack your joints. So once you're on this diet and your body isn't ingesting all of these oxalates, it's now in recovery mode and you become dizzy. And boy, did I become dizzy. So day 6 of my trial on this diet, I was outside cutting down a tree and things got real. I got so dizzy holding a chainsaw, I had to sit down right where I was at. These are the foods that I had to cut out cold turkey out of my diet. And these are foods that I had eaten for years, day after day, that I didn't realize were ruining my health. Teas. I have only found 3 teas that you can actually have on a low oxalate diet. You can have chamomile, peppermint, and rooibos. Now, when I say peppermint, I looked into this. I couldn't find in my area plain peppermint tea. Maybe at Christmas time I'll be able to find some. The ones that I found all have chocolate. Chocolate is a no-go on this diet. I was an avid black tea and green tea drinker, and I had to cut those out. Chocolate, full of oxalates. No more hot cocoa. No more unsweetened chocolate bits in a smoothie. Most fruits have oxalates. No more smoothies with blueberries and strawberries and bananas. For me, it's now papaya and cantaloupe. Those were the 2 lowest I could find with the lowest amount of oxalates. Vegetables. This is a big one. Vegetables are full of oxalates. Full of them. Some of the worst offenders are things we eat on a daily basis, like a leafy green salad with, you might add kale or spinach. Bad. I'm down to butter lettuce, iceberg lettuce, and alfalfa sprouts in my salads. As far as veggies, butternut squash is really good. Broccoli does have oxalates, but it's low. Green beans is another good one. However, be warned, you have to boil them to get the oxalate content out. So just if you're preparing green beans on this diet, just know to boil them. All meats that are raw, think of steak, chicken, pork roast, anything raw form that you can get at your butcher shop or your local Walmart, anything like that. Seafood, it's all good, except if it's prepared. If it comes in a package and it's prepared, no go. Now, bacon and sausage. Those are a staple in my diet. But sausage, if it has a lot of seasonings, it's no go. Same with bacon. I was able to find bacon with just salt in it. Pork and salt. If you can find that, you're good. Salt has no oxalates, but black pepper and other seasonings are heavy in oxalates. Most dairy has no oxalates. Cream for your coffee, but not the flavored creamers. I get the light cream in a cardboard container. Yogurt's good. Cottage cheese is good. Ricotta cheese is good. I get the block cheeses of cheddar cheese, white cheese, yellow cheese, and I shred them myself. I do not buy packaged shredded cheese because there's things in there to preserve the shredded cheese, which will maybe make you inflamed or cause a problem when you're on this diet. Nuts are a no-go. No almonds, no almond milk, no peanut butter. What I've been doing is I've been taking some non-fat Greek yogurt in a bowl, putting some cantaloupe and papaya in there with some unsweetened coconut flakes because I don't like the sugar content in the sweetened. It's delicious to me. But again, I've always been one that's been on an extreme diet for probably the past 10 years anyway because of my already problems with gluten and different products. If you're not used to this, it's going to take a bit getting used to. Basically, one of my meals might look like this. I get some ground chicken at the store. I form it into a little meatloaf and I bake it. And when it comes out, I put cheese over top that I grate myself. And I don't put any seasoning in anything I eat. I made the mistake one day. We had green beans with dinner and I put a stick of butter in the green beans that had some garlic and herb seasoning in the butter already. I suffered all night long. If I had never tried this oxalate diet, I would have never known that I had a problem and I would have continuously bought that butter and ate that butter. You can have regular plain butter. The stuff that is milk from grass-fed cow is good. You don't want to use an artificial butter or a margarine or junk butter. You want to get real butter. To me, cutting out things I love, peanuts, peanut butter, all kinds of nuts, teas, was the best decision I made for myself because to live without that chronic pain is amazing. It's amazing. I can't emphasize enough how better I feel. And when you feel your best and when you feel good, you're able to do more. It's been years since I lived pain-free. But trying this oxalate diet works for me. And I hope it works for you too. Now, I've been posting a few videos here and there in short form about what I'm eating. The other day I posted a salad where I made a butter lettuce iceberg steak that I had chopped up and roasted and butternut squash. It was delicious. I didn't season it with anything. It was plain, but I put a dash of olive oil over it and it was delicious and very, very filling. I would love to hear from you if you've ever tried this diet or if you know somebody who has and has had either bad or good success with it. I want to know. I want to know your thoughts. I'm going to continue this because it is working for me. And, the only thing I can say is whenever you try a fad diet or any kind of diet you hear that somebody had whirlwind success on, you want to look at the outcome and the long term of that diet. Yes, this diet is very limiting, but I think in the long term, if I can live pain-free, that outweighs anything else that I could do to better my health. Because I think pain is the driving factor that was keeping me back from doing what I really want to do. So thank you so much for watching, and take care.